I paid for a creator to do one for KP Talks Dollars and Cents. And
I'm going to just go mix up my own song. Hey guys, we are live on Friday. It's The Last Word, presented by Chrisman Commentary. This week's episode sponsored by PRMG, built for originators by originators. Did I get that right, KP?
Yeah, you know them, the founders. You know Paul and Robert.
I sure do. FinLocker's a proud sponsor, and today sponsoring is our friends from Dan to Road as well. Hey, Jody.
Woohoo!
Hey, how are you?
Awesome. And so just for our audience to understand, we've begged Jody at some point during this 30 minutes to unveil the 11-week-old puppies that are behind her. So we might have a puppy episode, guys. This could be fun. All right. You guys want to get into this?
Yeah.
Jody, you're getting a little, there you go. You're breaking up on us. We're going double avatar.
Yeah, I cut out on the video for a second.
Yeah,
I said,
it's all good.
If I glitch out, I'll just hold up puppies.
So we are the Friday before MBA. I think, half the mortgage industry is making their way to Denver over the next 48 hours. I thought we'd kick off by just talking about, last minute prep that folks are doing for MBA. Maybe Jody, KP, you guys can share some best practices for our lenders that are out there watching in terms of, how do you best manage the sessions and make sure you get into sessions and learn, but also balance the important part of, meeting with partners and vendors. So let's go. How are you feeling about your prep for MBA, Jody?
Well, I have to say, I always tell everyone I'm a recovering lender. But when I would attend MBA Annual as a lender and taking a team with me, I'd huddle the team together the week before and set objectives for what we were looking to accomplish, largely around going into the following year and what our roadmap was. The other thing is we have this amazing thing that's always in our hand, and sometimes it's in our hand and we feel like we've lost it, but it's right there. It's called our phone. So when you are out and about having cocktails and there's something interesting that you want to see for your company, shoot your team a message to say, hey, we need to follow up with this person. It's very difficult to have meaningful conversations because they're so fast and furious, and some of us more than others might have more cocktails. And it becomes a little blurry. So I think it's important to make sure that you're setting follow-ups while you're there with the right people on your teams, but also go in with a game plan, because otherwise it's just going to be a big party and you're going to go out of it feeling like you didn't accomplish what you set out to. So that's recommendations. And for the vendors out there, I'm one of you now, but try to tone down the aggressive and, be respectful of people's time and people's space. A lot of lenders use the conferences at a time like KP and I, when we see each other at conferences, we want to catch up on, personally as friends, but also like collaborate on what we're seeing in the industry. And no one wants to have someone jump into that conversation and monopolize it. So just be respectful.
I love that. I love that. I was, before joining FinLocker, I spent 30 years on the lender side. And for the last, 8 to 9 years, I would say I toggled between a buyer and a seller, right? Mm-hmm. And at any given time, you're always one or the other or both. In KP's case, you're both at a lot of these events. And the vendor word still hurts me when I have to kind of call myself that. And this is not a knock on the great partners that exist across the industry, across the ecosystem. I love all of you. And I felt, Jody, like you described, it's like you go to some of these events as a lender, there's amazing content that happens in these rooms. And I don't know how many conferences I've been to where I sadly never saw a session because I ended up in back-to-back meetings. Mm-hmm. Valuable, but there is content you want to be able to take in, and I think as partners, as vendors, we need to be respectful of that part of it as well.
Yeah, absolutely. I also think that if you're doing a good job as a vendor throughout the year and being a partner and helping solve the problems of your lenders, you shouldn't be. I never liked having the meeting with one of who I felt was my partner. Like we meet a couple times a month, or at least once a month all year. I want to see you to say hi. But I don't need to sit down and have a meeting with you.
Yeah.
And I think people book meetings with who they feel comfortable with, as opposed to putting themselves out there and challenging themselves to explore other areas that they're not as comfortable with.
Yeah, to me, it's all about time management, right? I mean, there's 3,500 people going, plus all the suitcasers that aren't registered, So, I mean, it is what it is. Like you can't, but this is our Super Bowl, so this is our big event. Caffeine, more caffeine, and then after 4 o'clock, espresso martini. So
and liquid IV.
Yeah, I'm not there yet. Although I did, I should go get them, but I did just get my first pair of glasses Wednesday. So maybe I should get on the liquid IV train. Yeah.
So the closer you become to a 50-year-old woman, the more liquid IV you will need. Trust me.
Well,
Oh, no.
I think I have a kind of a rule of thumb. Your first dose of caffeine at 9:30, your second at 2:30, and then as needed, but never after 6 unless in Vegas. Well, this is like Vegas. And so you may need some more caffeine after 6 p.m., although it's not very good for restorative sleep, just saying. But one thing I try and do, because I know there's just no way I can meet with everyone that I want to meet with, that wants to meet with, us and our company. And, and then, like you said, Brian, I'm part of, I do venture capital and a lot of different, vendor partners that are out there. And so there's just a lot to do, and it's just limited time to do it. And it's okay to say no. Like, hey, you know what? Let's just circle back in November. No big deal.
Right.
But when I do see someone, this is like a rule in life that I try and adhere by my whole life. I heard it early in my 20s. And, like you see someone, you look them in the eye, and you basically like, I see you, I recognize you, you acknowledge them, and then you move on. And so, and it's hard because like you're going from like meeting to meeting, and so you got to like have your head in the swivel. Hey, good to see you. All right, I gotta go. I'll see you. It's just a polite, nice thing to do to another human being, just to say, I see you and I recognize you, and can't stop and chat. I'm on the go, but no disrespect. But yeah, and I think like sometimes even just like a quick little, even if you're not like, outgoing and personal, like I obviously am, the tight-lit head nod, that works too, like, that just some kind of recognition that I see you. So maybe we'll start a trend. We're going to do a lot of tight-lipped head nods this conference. All right. So we're just going to do the tight. I don't know. We'll see. So
I'm a hugger.
I'm a hugger too. And I want to stop and hug, but
it's going to be like, 5,000 hugs. And
well, let's just make sure we don't have loose lip hugs. That's the
yeah, don't get confused.
Well, everyone's are we gonna have another COVID event here? Because it is what it is. It's not a deadly strain as like it was several years ago. But I went to AIM Fuse in New Orleans, and I heard a bunch of people got sick coming back from there, and it was COVID.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I'm still within the window. I got COVID out of the last conference that I attended. So I'm not sure if it was the hugs or the karaoke bar.
If I don't have a fever, it's not COVID, and I'm not testing. That's my rule.
Right. All right. I'm going to keep us rolling here because we could probably riff on this all day.
Yeah.
I think we talked last week about what we believe a big talking point or theme of the event will be. With Christy, it was around AI. And so I know during the week as we were show prepping, and yes, audience, this show does prep in a big way.
Yeah, it's like one email.
Intense.
It's an email from Robbie. What do you think? We're like, good. Oh, hey, how about this? Sometimes there's some interaction, but usually it's like, yeah.
So AI will definitely be talked about, but I know there's a lot of things that are happening already today in the business, and you guys are, both of you are very close to it in your practices and in your business. Much closer than I am right now. So I'd love to just kind of get your thoughts as we go into Denver, how you're thinking about AI in the context of the conversations, and what are you seeing that's like super cool or not so cool?
Well, I see a lot of technology and a lot of things that are classified as AI. What the trend appears to be right now, regardless of what type of AI is chat, and using chat to answer questions, whether it's scenarios. And the marketing gets extremely confusing as to what the different AIs and the different vendors are doing. So also in your prep for MBA and discussions around artificial intelligence, I think it's extremely important to truly understand because you look at websites for AI companies and you have no clue what they do. You don't know if they're underwriting, if they're a scenario desk, if they are, an OCR vendor. It is very gray. So there has to be a lot of deep diving before engaging with anyone. I did a thought leadership article. Robbie has it. I don't know if it was published any place, but it was largely around like, we're so focused on AI that we forget the basics and even how to be humans ourselves. And really, what we need more of in the industry now is leadership and emotional intelligence around leadership to guide through the ever-changing market and making decisions around what types of artificial intelligence you're going to deploy within your business and help bring your teams along with that. It's noisy, it's messy, and things are being called AI that aren't AI, and it's a crazy business. And I kind of think that this is going to be a fad. Like, I think 2-3 years from now, are we saying AI?
Yeah, we are. Because there's no real, well, let me just say this. What we might be saying, and if we're not saying AI, is we might be saying, open AI or chat GPT. You know how like you don't call it a tissue anymore, you call it a Kleenex. You don't call it a soda anymore, you call it Coca-Cola. If there is a winner takes most, that might replace the word, and people will just be saying that. And, if there's regulations that come down from DC, in the various departments in government that put guardrails around AI, there'll be less winners. But yeah, I mean, look, when ChatGPT became like all the rage, like 2 Februarys ago, I'm not going to name any names, but like the next day, this one vendor, like they had AI in like their catchphrase. And I'm like, I don't believe you. Like your code has been around for 10 years. You didn't change shit overnight. I know you're lying, but what is true, and I'll just, give a 3 different companies that come to mind that, are a good plug, my Tesla. I mean, it has had eyeballs on the world for years. They have what's called autopilot, and then they have full self-driving. And so there are 9 billion miles of eyeballs and cameras from their cars on autopilot, and they've just racked up 2 billion on full self-driving. And so they are looking at the world, and they're going to take that data and they're going to put it inside Optimus the robot, which is going to come to your office and clean your kitchen and do your laundry at home and take out the trash and all the stuff, like whatever menial tasks go on, like, at your office or your home, like it's coming. And so those eyeballs of how to navigate the world, it's all coming, right? So, and of course, there's a difference between large language model and generative AI. And can it actually think? Is it a sentient being? That's all different stuff. It's debatable. But OpenAI's latest version has an IQ of 120. And so that is that's smarter than the average human on the planet, just so you know. So, and that's today, and it's coming. Jane.ai got rebranded to call Capacity. like they were on AI before anyone was talking about it. You know, David Karandish is great. We use them for like our task automation and routing, and they got a voice and thing and stuff. Joe at Social Coach, they've got a large language model, Chat GPT, and like, you know, like even when you want ideas of how to come up with content. So there, AI is in our business. There is AI, and there are different versions of AI. And I think I saw Joe Darlene pop some up there. He's always, he's super smart when it comes to all this stuff.
He wrote a book on the post, so I can't put it up because it covers Jody. We can't do that.
There's a lot of excitement and belief around generative AI. Gen AI is the quick fix for profitability. However, while Gen AI has its merits, it's not the silver bullet many anticipate. The true path to reducing costs and enhancing efficiency lies in applied AI, which targets the most significant expense in loan manufacturing, labor accounting for nearly 70% of all costs. Yeah, agreed. Totally agree. So, yeah, I mean, look, AI is not AI, right? It's like an all-encompassing word, and you know, some people that are fear-based think Skynet and, you know, the Terminator and, you know, or Matrix and the robots blotted out the sun, so we couldn't have any energy. We had to go underground. I mean, I don't know, you know, could it come to that? Anyway, agreed, you know, what Joe said. We're working on different tasks we can automate. I'll just end this little thought bubble real quick. When I signed our Salesforce contract just about 8 years ago, I was invited down to the Presidio right under the Golden Gate Bridge, and I was sitting front row with Mark Benioff, the CEO, in like a little fireside chat, and the managing editor of Wired magazine. And there was another guy out there named Uli, who is the CEO of ABB. And if you look it up, it's a Swedish-Swiss power company. Now everyone's talking about power because all the big mega cap companies are buying nuclear plants, and we don't have enough power to power the AI and the data centers and all the stuff. And this guy Uli had 125,000 employees at the time. They do power grids and substations and power stations globally. They were talking about corporate responsibility. They said when, not if, when 45% of the world's jobs are automated, how will we as leaders of our companies shepherd our people into this new era? And it really resonated with me 8 years ago. And I'd just been here as a partner at PRMG in ownership for under a year, and it really hit home. And so I think about that all the time at all of our meetings and all of our vendor partners we work with. We want to keep our people. I still, you know, rates are still the driver of, you know, whether people are in or out, right? But AI is going to be an even bigger driver, I believe, at some point in our business. And so we have a corporate responsibility to basically try and shepherd our people into this new era where Kinsey Consulting just put out a report. I put on my LinkedIn video a couple weeks ago. 700 million jobs in the world can be automated today. And after that's done, 800 million. And after that's done, the remaining 70% of jobs on the planet will suffer a pay cut because the automation can make everything more productive and less expensive. I'm telling you, we're going to be talking about universal basic income before you know it.
I'm letting you take that, Jody.
I was going to switch gears slightly, but still related to jobs on KP, because we've been having this debate since the pandemic about work remote or in person. And I did read this week, I don't know if you all read the Morning Brew, but the Morning Brew had an article about how productive American workers are compared to Europe and Japan. So, you know, I would get aggravated thinking that, you know, people could do more. And the proof is at least I wasn't managing employees in other countries because the US is the most productive company. And it's not just because of the introduction of AI, it's what the humans can produce on average compared to other countries. And we've had a significant increase in the US since 1990, a 70% increase in productivity by Americans compared to Europe at 25%, 29% in Europe at 25%. So something for all of you people managers out there to consider that it ain't so bad.
Brian, you turned me on to Morning Brew like 7 years ago.
Yeah.
You were like, hey, you got to check this out. This is something I read. And so I
You
remember
got
you were
me
the
a
one that
free coffee cup for that. Thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome. Yeah. Now you sip on it when you watch my video in the morning.
Yeah.
That is
Yeah, worker productivity is look, our workforce is young in America. I mean, we have a very young and robust workforce, and so you look at countries like China that are suffering through population decline. With their their China one policy. I mean, literally, if you had a girl, parents were like throwing the baby girl off a cliff. Like literally, like there are stories of that. And so it's a male dominated society, and they're not having kids. And so they're projected to go down to from what are they, like 1.2 billion, they're gonna go down to like 770 million people. That's a serious problem. And we're starting to see that now in their government, their contraction. They're literally knocking down condo towers. They have too many houses. We have a similar problem in America where people aren't having kids. I'm doing my part with 4, but our birth death rate is just not keeping up. But we can always, let immigration, run its course and bring people in the country to offset that and have that robust workforce. And so, we're in a good spot as a country. I mean, we're isolated geographically. We have 2 neighbors on either side of us that we're pretty aligned with. We have a lot of natural resources. Yes, there are some that we don't have, and we have great military and awesome innovation and a free-flowing liquid capital market. And so I think we're in a great spot.
Yep. So KP, there's a question for you in the chat asking if generative AI helps with recruiting.
Well, I wouldn't say generative AI. I still consider that a large language model where it's helping. Although I do like what Eric Levin and Model Match team is doing. They're doing some cool stuff. It can help you narrow down your target. I still think in our business, like for example, we use Salesforce, okay, for all of our account executives in wholesale and correspondent. And we ingest data from this source and that source. And then we have this prospect list that we put out, and it's like based on who we are, who you are, who's available, what's out there. These are your highest priority, prospects. So it's more, AI is just, machine learning, right? It's like rules based, right? So that condenses time because now you don't have to go down and look there, pull this report, sort this by this program type. It's just you log in, it's there. Make the phone call, but you got to make the phone call. You got to make the phone call, and you got to be good on the phone, and you have to continue to follow up, and you have to have, So I still think recruiting in our business is very human. You can use tools to cut time on sorting through prospects.
Yeah, I think maybe if you're leveraging, some AI enabled tools as part of a toolkit in a tech stack, and that's how that's one of your value props that you're presenting to potential loan officers to join from a recruiting perspective, then yes. But I agree. I'm not certain on the applicability of AI other than sorting through a lot of data to figure out who are the next 10 best people to reach out to.
Yep. I've seen technology on the as a loan officer side, like as loans are coming into the lead funnel, the percentage, like based on the characteristics of the individual applying, what is the likelihood of that converting into an actual loan? And then telling the loan officer like, hey, you need to call this person because they have the highest likelihood of converting. And I think, again, it's that human piece. And, KP was talking about our younger workforce. And I don't know how many times I've had to tell people like, call, don't text someone, don't email someone, like get your phone out, push the numbers and have human interaction. So I think it's important both when you're prospecting for loans or you're prospecting recruits.
It's even easier than that. You just pull out your phone and you go, call Jody Hall.
Oh,
right. Right.
Yeah. It's the fear of having to respond to someone asking you a question.
Yeah. I've probably gotten to this place where it's like, I usually text somebody, unless I have a scheduled call, and maybe that's the Midwesterner. I mean, just, very polite. But like if I don't have a scheduled call, I'll text somebody first before I just call them.
Yeah.
And kind of like that coming inbound to me too. And, I just wonder, like, when we talk about just pick up the phone and call as a salesperson, I mean, who here likes to get a cold call? I mean, nobody likes to get a cold call. I mean, who answers a cold call?
I would be excited to see your number surprisingly come across.
That's good to know. I'm going to surprise you.
I'm personally not a fan when someone I don't have any relationship with texts me. I'm not a fan of that. I feel like my phone is my safe place, and I'm like how the F did you get my number? Why we're not on text? I don't mean it in any kind of like egotistical way. I just feel like that's my personal space, and I don't know who you are. I'll get to know you. I just hate that.
Yeah.
If we're not on the hug level, don't text me.
Yeah, I'm showing my age because the younger generation love texting, right? So I don't know. I don't know. Maybe it just depends on who it is. So
I'm gonna switch gears because I want to make sure this gets in before we lose.
Yeah, we got 5 minutes and the puppies are coming out.
Puppies are coming. So this week, exciting news. We had a press release on Tuesday announcing FinLock. Timeout. Look at that. There we go.
Oh, look at that. You got to bring it to Denver. Let's go.
The last word just went to the highest rated show on the Crispin Commentary Network with the introduction of the puppies. I love it.
Yeah.
So we, FinLocker and First Home IQ partnered, and we announced that this week. We've been working with Kristen and Dave Savage and Todd Bookspan and the team on launching a First Home IQ branded version of FinLocker. So if you think about all the great work that First Home IQ does for the ambassadors in terms of empowering and arming those originators with content to take to their communities to spread the great financial literacy and education that they're doing. Our partnership now allows the technology of FinLocker to go right with that ambassador, with that loan officer, and all the great content. So selfish plug, want to make sure we got that in the into the show, but we're super excited and proud that Kristen and Dave and the team have put their trust in the FinLocker brand for their technology experience.
Two great brands coming together.
So Jody, what's going on? What the heck is going on here? When did those guys show up?
2 weeks ago today, I went to the Northeast Ohio SPCA to get this guy, and they are brother and sister.
Of course.
And her, the person that was going to adopt her no-showed on a Friday afternoon. And I'm like, so what happens? And they're like, she stays here over the weekend, and all of her siblings were gone. So I'm like, yeah, that's not going to work for me.
Yeah. Yeah. They were counting on you showing up, just so you know.
Yeah. I think I definitely, and I don't think they're brother and sister. They're like, hey, we can just like slip this one in there and totally like sucker her into taking both of them.
That's awesome. The first introduction of puppies to the last word. I love it.
I swear on Nextdoor, the app that like shows what's going on in your community. I swear there's like an effort that's been like coordinated to have like people that are like, help us adopt this pet or help us adopt that pet, or this one's going to be euthanized. I see like, I feel like it's like influencers trying to peddle people's heartstrings to like gain. It's because, you're like, what? It's definitely not like a foreign spy. There's no way it's a bot or a foreign spy that would possibly do something like that, because it's like you bring in puppies or a dog that's about to get killed at the shelter, and then everyone's like, the most comments I've ever seen. I'm telling you, my spidey senses are up. I'm sniffing out some nefarious activity using puppies as a front.
Yeah.
whatever we got to do to stay on the Crispin network, we're going to do. So
we'll bring a horse on the next time. How about that?
Oh, there you go.
We'll come live from the barn. I'll really be glitching.
Oh, that's great. Well, I'm excited about this Super Bowl weekend for us, and I'll be there Sunday, and that's it. I come home and we're done. We're done traveling. A couple things here and there the rest of the year, but then we'll have the IMB Independent Mortgage Banker Show in Austin, which Jason Stenger and I are co-chairs of the IMB Executive Committee for MBA. So We got some good content planned for that. Plus, it's Austin, right? So no offense to Denver, but Austin is just way cooler.
All right, KP, Jody, I'm looking forward to seeing you guys in Denver.
Yes. The industry, travel safe, and see y'all on Monday.
See you guys.
Cheers, y'all. Have a great weekend.
Bye-bye.
Bye.